Some persons have some disagreements about what's going on there. In fact, I see a document here which says that in 2018, you budgeted 18 billion naira for the Odukpani spaghetti flyover. In 2010, 16 billion was allocated for that, while in 2019, and then in 2020, 8 billion naira was set aside for the same project, and they say that at the moment they don't see anything tangible going on.
I sympathize with that. If you go to Odukpani Calabar Road, I have created a dualization of the entire road. It has never happened in the history of the state. The spaghetti flyover, we have finished the apartments and the beams have been cast. We have all the 21 beams cast and we're waiting and ready for launching. If you go on the same road, you will see whereby the spur off the right-hand side of the Odukpani Calabar Way, you will see indeed that even the superhighway is on asphalting level already. Critics just speak from the stomach because they don't realize that the same Cross River State has an allocation of about 3.2 billion in a month. 1.8 billion of that is taken directly from the presidency to service loans that I did not take. I inherited a government with over 382 billion naira as loans on the shoulders of the government, while the oil wells of the state have been taken away. I have a salary of about 3.2 billion in a month to pay, with 1.8 billion direct debit, direct before the allocation gets to the state. So I play with only 1.8 billion to run the state and to run all the infrastructures of the state. Occasional funds come in by interventions of government. But to say that if you go there, you don't see anything. We used to have only one lane into Calabar. Today it's dual carriage. And the other lane has been completed all over. The budget of 18 billion, 16 billion, and 8 billion, as it were, is the envelope, which is the visionary provision, which is an intellectual budgetary system based on the principle of budgeting to vision instead of budgeting to envelope. It's a prosperity agenda set up to see how this state can change. And if you go to Calabar today, nobody will tell you that there's no dual carriage to Calabar. And no, people ask, where do I get the money to do it? So the second lane, which is the federal government lane, which is the old lane that was there, we are now preparing, and we've just given the contract to Zenith Construction to do the asphalt overlay on the old lane. The street lights, all the lighting poles are being done in a pad and pylon factory in Akampa. They are stockpiled there, and we're erecting the poles to be able to have all of that street light right from Odukpani Junction to Calabar City. That will happen before April. It's ongoing. But don't worry about my budget figures. Go and ask how much have been put in. Because the real project cost is there, but the intellectual cost of doing it gets far less than where we are. So it's not as if there's an 18 billion and the 18 billion was made available. I was taken. Then the second year, there's a 16 billion and there was a 16 billion taken. If I made a budget provision of 18 billion for a year, and I'm only able to raise 1 billion for that 1 year to provide for it, the original cost of 18 billion will still be there. But I've only put in 1 billion of the 18 billion. Carried over to next year, I dropped by 1 billion or 2 billion based on what I've spent and what I expected to spend more. But they don't understand the dynamics of budgeting because they are 21st century illiterate. They only read statistics and figures without trying to distill it into practical reality on how government works. Government does not work by just mere stochastic data. It's deliberate calculation using, who would have imagined that Cross River State will have this number of factories, this quantity of people being appointed into government, even when we really don't need them, just to reduce the sociological epinoscopy and create a new horizon of opportunity to eclipse the tension that has befallen other states. This is called intellectual application.